What is that fire within you that's continuously burning?
If you ask me what's my biggest motivation in life, it's freedom. I had all this like constant instability. We're always living paycheck to paycheck. So when I came to America, I said, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I need like to build myself up so I can be ultimate stability. I would see my friends like do drop shipping and print on demand. And he started to buy like these BMWs and put them on Turo. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're wasting your life. Like you should just get a job and like, work up the corporate ladder. I was scammed. I was in $80,000 in student loans debt. I'm working like in a hamster wheel. It took me to go from one job to two job, three job, and then the fourth job, I'm like, bro, I'm doing the same shit. Nothing's changing. When I found entrepreneurship and I got a taste, I became more skilled. I started seeing my income go up. That's the path to freedom, is becoming so skilled. I can go replicate my success in any business because I know how to do marketing. I know how to do sales. I know how to do finance. I know everything that it takes to run a business. I can even raise money.
Welcome to another episode of Dose of Wealth, where money, mindset, and mastery collide. I am beyond excited today because one of my best and closest friends in the whole world is joining us today. Not only is he my dear friend, but he's a genius, a force to reckon with. Mina Elias. I cannot say enough amazing words about you, but I would love for you to introduce yourself to those that don't know who you are and take us to your early beginnings, all the way back to where you were born, baby.
Wow. You want to go all the way back, huh? Okay,
All the
cool.
way back, because that is what makes you who you are. And I'm so excited for the world to know.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I was born in Egypt, and when I was 2 years old, I moved. My parents moved me to Dubai. My dad got a good opportunity there. We grew up there from two until I was, 18 years old. Around 10 years old, my dad lost his job, so we ended up kind of being in Dubai in this like boom where everyone had money. And everything was expensive and like not expensive, but you know what I mean. Everything was like flashy and shiny, and we had nothing, right? And so I grew up with a lot of like appreciation for the simple things, like just even doing a barbecue or going to the beach and stuff like that, stuff that didn't cost like much money. And I always had kind of that hunger because I knew I was like I was made for more than this. Like, and I would even give my dad advice. I would tell him, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, why don't you like go work at this place and like learn and then work up the ladder? And like I would, and then he would be like, no, 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 I'm doing my thing, and trust me, like this is gonna be a big hit. And like nothing was ever a big hit, but whatever. They did the ultimate sacrifice. They left their family, took us to Dubai. I got the best education. They made sure that I was done. And then I moved to America for college. And so I moved, again, my parents didn't know much about America. The people that they knew in America, they weren't like in contact with. So I was on my own trying to figure out how to go to college. And so I graduated like with insane grades in high school. So I had like AP exams, A levels, O levels, SATs, SAT twos, you name it. I won a math test. I got ranked like top 10% of people in the world on this math test. So I applied to all the universities, like all the top schools in the world, not just America. So America, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom. And I got accepted into all of them with scholarships. One of them was this one in America, in Canada, in Toronto, it was the third best chemical engineering program in the world, which is what I went to school for, chemical engineering. But then after getting a scholarship and all this stuff, I remember I applied for my visa in like March, right? Or February, March. And then like month after month after month, my student visa, I would go to the embassy and they would say, we haven't heard anything back. Again and again and again and again. I was just like, dude, every time I would go, people that I knew from school would leave the embassy smiling with their visa, and I still didn't have anything. And then August like 20th hit, and they're like, sorry, you're rejected. I'm like, this is a student visa. I have like a full scholarship. And they're like, yeah, we think you're gonna illegally immigrate when you go to Canada, which is insane. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I was like broken at that point. I was walking home. I remember I almost got hit by a car because I was just looking at the paper, reading like my entire life plan is destroyed. Like, and this was the first slap in the face where I realized like, don't plan. Like planning for life is like it's a joke, right? Like that's where like I started, instead of planning for life, just becoming like a really resilient, highly skilled person that can, surf any wave basically. Because life is like an ocean, right? With all these unpredictable waves. And I was like, fuck it. Like every plan I've ever made has been, slapped in the face. All right. So I called all the other universities in America and all this stuff. They all said it's too late. Wait a year, reapply next year. I was like, you losing a year of my life? No way. And everyone would laugh at me. They'd say, this guy's a joke. Obviously, you have these thoughts when you're a kid, 17 years old, thinking everyone's going to mock you for not going to college on time, right? And graduating late. So I went to a college in Dubai for one semester. And my mom was like, dude, why don't you just go look at the college applications that you had, like all these other ones? Like, remember the college fair that you had? I was like, fine, whatever. So I'm reading through it, and I remember this guy. He's like, "Oh, Mina, like based on your grades, like you would have a presidential scholarship at our school. We're on the water. We're between New York and Boston. And what's between New York and Boston? It's Connecticut, right?" And so this guy scammed me hard. So I called him. I'm like, hey, like, I'm looking to come to like the school. Like, is it still available? And he's like, oh yeah, like we'll transfer all your credits, even the ones you took in Dubai and like everything. Um, I'm like, amazing. Let's. This is crazy. I don't even have to apply. He's like, no, you don't have to apply. And obviously, this is like they have a big diversity incentive in that, because it's a private university. And then I applied for the visa, and within 3 days, I got the U.S. visa, student visa. So I was like, this must be a sign from God that I should go to Connecticut, So I packed my bags, landed in Connecticut, 25th of January, 2011. There's 6 to 8 feet of snow. They just had like one of those nor'eastern, not hurricanes, but like the big snowstorms. And I'm like, holy shit, what did I do? I thought all of America was the same. I did not expect it to be like this. And so I went to college there, and I graduated top of my class. So I had two bachelors, chemical engineering and chemistry. I graduated top of my class, above everyone else. And then, I had after that, like I had 2 years to basically work under my student visa. So I started working in the corporate world, right? And then I'm like, shit, my visa is running out. Like, what do I do? Like I thought I was gonna get a green card through work. So I applied for a work visa. It got rejected because it turns out it's a lottery system. So I was like, shit, dude, like it's they accept 60,000 people, and 250,000 people apply every year. So I'm like, okay, I'm cooked. Like, there's no way this is happening. So, anyways, long story short, got my bachelor's, got my master's, kept working up the corporate ladder, and I was excelling faster and faster. But I kept moving, like 2 years in this job, and then 2 years in this job, and then 2 years, year and a half in this job, and I was never satisfied, right? And it hit me like a truck because I was like always a top performer. So when I went to work, I became a top performer. And in like my biggest company that I worked at is Medtronic. It's like a $20 billion company. They're public. They would tell me, "Don't work too hard. Like like the work is always going to be there. Like, why are you working so hard?" I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then the thing that hit me the hardest was in my last job. My boss walks me in, and she's like, come into my office. She's like, you're very promising, you're incredibly talented, incredibly smart, you're growing faster than anyone we've ever hired. Do you see yourself taking my place in 10 years? And I said, yeah, I would absolutely love to, shorter in a shorter time if I can. She's like, amazing, that's great. And then I was driving home, I'm like, if I take her place, that means I'm gonna be living this life for the next 10 years, which is wake up in the morning at 4:30, to hit the gym at 5:15, to leave the gym at 6:15 so I can commute 45 minutes to work, work from 7 to 4, probably more because now I'm the boss, and then commute 45 minutes back. I'm like, what kind of life is this? How can I raise kids? How can I'm not gonna enjoy shit. Like, what am I doing with my life? And that's when it hit me. So I was on vacation that year. Is 2018. I was on vacation in Egypt. I was chilling with my parents, and my dad was like, "What are you doing on your phone? You're on your phone too much." I was like, "Nothing. I'm just buying a bunch of supplements." He's like, "Which supplements?" And then I started explaining how I buy these supplements and these other raw ingredients, and I mix them to make the supplements stronger. Da 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 da. He's like, "You know what? You should start your own supplement brand." I'm like, "Dude, no way! Like my own supplement brand? That's crazy. Like there's how could I do that? Like you probably need like $100,000." He's like, "How much would it cost?" So I started asking people. I'm like, "How much does it cost to start a company?" He's like, "Oh, you just need an LLC. It costs $400 on LegalZoom." I'm like, "Okay, cool. What else do I need?" I'm like, "If I buy the raw ingredients on Amazon, I can make the product for like $4." I'm like, "Okay, cool," and I can mix it at home and package it. So I'm like, "Okay, cool, I can get away with that." I'm like, "How much does a designer cost?" And this guy's like, "Oh, I get my," because he had a t-shirt company. He's like, "I get my designs from this guy on Fiverr. He charges me like $10 a design." I'm like, "Shit," and he charged me like whatever $100 for my label, my supplement label. I'm like, "Dude." This looks like, so I'm like, okay, $5 cost of my product. How much is it selling on Amazon? $30. I'm like, oh my God, supplements, electrolytes, and pre-workout sell for $30. My raw cost is $5. I'm like, okay, I'm onto something. And the thing is, I was an MMA fighter. I still train, but no longer compete. But I was an MMA fighter on keto, and I needed a lot of electrolytes, and I could never get them because the electrolytes on the market all had sugar, because they were under the impression that you needed sugar to absorb electrolytes. So I was like, shit, I'm gonna make an unflavored, like no filler, no sugar electrolyte powder, and use amino acids for absorption. I use taurine because it enhances performance. There's studies on it, enhances performance for cyclists. So I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I basically I started the company, and I posted on Facebook, I'm the owner of MMA Nutrition LLC, you know. And this guy's like, oh, you have a supplement brand? Amazing. What do you sell? I said electrolytes. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a free booth at my MMA event that's coming up in 20 days. So I'm like, holy shit! Like I have 20 days to. So in the next 20 days, I at work, I would go to work, bang out all of my work, and then the rest of the time, I would be working on the website. I would be working on like everything, like getting a banner from Vistaprint. So he's like, you just need product, banner, and then like a website. So I had a website that wasn't even an e-commerce website because I didn't know like how do you even fulfill orders. So I just had a website where you can't click on anything. And then I had products. I made it at home. I called my roommate and I said, I'll pay you $15 an hour, but you can only work 2 hours to make everything for me. So he was at home mixing all the powders. I gave him the recipe and packing these bags. And I went to the event. I sold 25, and everyone's like, oh my God, I've been looking for something like this. I'm like, okay, okay. And then my friend lied and he said, it's gonna be on Amazon soon. And so that I was like, shit, I told everyone it's gonna be on Amazon soon. Now I have to get it on Amazon. And that was my start to getting it on Amazon. And then fast forward, like got it on Amazon.
Before we fast forward, yeah, there's so much gold to unpack. So this from the moment you moved to US to starting MMA Nutrition was what? 10 years, would you
I
say?
moved
Or a
to
little less?
no 2011 and I started in 2018. So I would say seven
Okay.
and a half years.
Awesome. Well, let's go back just a little bit to Egypt. So, was your dad an entrepreneur too, or
No,
did you?
he's the
But
worst
because you said
entrepreneur
you
in the
said
world.
he kept trying to start different things, it just never happened. Do you think that's what kind of gave you that boost of like, okay,
Yeah.
my dad never takes my advice, but I know I can actually do it and prove it to him?
Yeah, and I didn't even want to prove to him. I just knew what was right. If he listened to me, he would be successful, but he never listened to me. You know what I
Where
mean?
did you get that conviction, Mina?
I
Because
have
this
no
is one
idea.
thing about you that always stood out to me because you came from such humble beginnings. We're both immigrants, and I have seen you from the moment I met you rise. That's why I said before we fast forward, because it gets even better than this. Like I met you when you were just at the beginning of this road that I mean, you're still barely scratching the surface, but this scratching the surface is something I don't know, majority of the people in their lifetime will never achieve. So I'm just trying to find the root of where do you think this is coming from? Has it always been within you? Was it this mindset? Was it your what is that fire within you that's like continuously burning?
You know, okay, so here's the thing. I think part of it is if you ask me what's my biggest motivation in life, it's freedom. It's like I'm so driven by freedom and like no one to tell me what I need to do or no one to control me, no location to control me, nothing, right? Like I need freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of everything, right? And so that comes from when you're in Dubai. What you don't know is can never get a citizenship. So at any point in time, they could kick you out. They could be like, "All right, leave the country. You don't have a job. You're done. Leave the country." You know what I mean? So you're always. I always felt like we were temporary. We were always living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm like, you never know when I can buy fucking fast food, KFC. Never know when I can go to the movies. And I would see my mom be like, pull out the money with pain because she wants to keep us a little bit happy. We're children. And she's like, okay, here you go. Like, go buy like, a $5 meal at like Hardee's or something. And, like I would see that, like, and I could always read people, so I could read my mom clearly, and I watched my dad speak about like the deals that he was gonna do, and he's be like, if I connect this person to this person, and in my mind I'm like, if you connect two people, what's your value? A connection? How do you think you're gonna get paid recurring? Like, okay, maybe if you're like a master at one thing, and you're doing all these connections and you start getting referral commission, but he was like, one day it was a pasta deal, one day it was a solar deal, one day it was a nuclear deal. I'm like, brother, what do you know about this shit? You don't know anything. Like, how are you even in a position to make these deals? You don't know anything. One time it was we're gonna open up a restaurant. I'm like, a restaurant? Like, this is you worked in medical sales. Like, how are you gonna open up a restaurant? So I always saw that, and it like really infuriated me. And then I had all this like constant instability. So when I came to America, I said, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go for like maximum like freedom, which is in my mind was this. It was like, work up the corporate ladder, get my US citizenship, go back to Dubai and get treated like a king. Because in Dubai, if you have a US citizenship or Canadian or whatever, you get treated like a king. You get paid way better. And they can't really kick you out because like they consider your citizenship like a strong one. So they're like, yeah, you can stay here. You're super valuable. So that's where that came from. Like, so when I moved to America, I was like, shit, I need like to build myself up so I can be ultimate stability, which means I need to be paid a lot of money, which means I need to like be a high rank, which means I need to have a strong citizenship. And I was so convicted, like that. I was like, this is the fucking path, right? And I was so wrong because I would see my friends, like some of them, Gil, Gil,
Yeah.
Gil and Jess. So I would see Gil, and he started to do drop shipping and print on demand, and he started to buy like these BMWs and put them on Turo. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're wasting your life. Like, you should just get a job and like, work up the corporate ladder. Like, that's how I believed like this was the way. And so when that conversation happened, that's when I realized it was this perfect storm. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. The conversation happened, and I'm like, I'm scammed, dude. I was scammed. I was in $80,000 in student loans debt. I'm working like I'm in a hamster wheel. Every day is the same thing. Every job is the same. Like, it took me to go from one job to two job, three job, and then the fourth job. I'm like, bro, I'm doing the same shit. I'm changing the jobs. Nothing's changing. The only time things got a little bit pleasant was when the people around me were fun. So I was like, okay, I'm still feel like I'm a little bit of a slave because I am in debt, so I can't not work. I can't go back home and chill at my parents, at least to take a breather. There was no option for me to take a breather because if I go to Egypt, I can't afford my student loans. My student loans were co-signed because I'm not a citizen by another person. I could never put another person in a shitty position like that where they have to pay my student loans or anything like that. So I was like a slave to my decisions and to the system. So when I found entrepreneurship and I got a taste, like that initial taste, and then I was like, as I became better as a person, as I became more skilled, as I got better at like Amazon, as I got better at like the marketing, the sales, the finance, and I started seeing my income go up. And then I started getting even more of a taste of like, okay, when I started to become a thought leader, right? When I started sharing information, and then people would come to me, Mina, want to pay you to teach us how you did this. And that's when I realized like that's the path to freedom, is becoming so skilled, well known, like incredibly valuable. Like right now, if I lost all my companies, I have $0. My banks were wiped, my identity was stolen. Not even in Amazon, I can go replicate my success in any business because I know how to do marketing, I know how to do sales, I know how to do finance, I know how to do recruitment, I know how to do fulfillment, I know customer service, I know operations, I know everything. Like that it takes to run a business. I can even raise money. So I I was like, okay, that's the answer, right? That's what drives me. It drives me to keep becoming a better person, a highly skilled person in every area of life, because that's what I'm running away from, is that instability of like, oh, you don't have a job or you don't have a stable, like now I don't even care my passport, right? Because of my ability to make money and my ability to like be valuable to making money is essentially in another, it's like the second order of being a valuable member of society, right? So because I know how to add value, I can go anywhere. I can go, like, if everything blows up in America, I can go live in any 100 different countries, you know what I mean? And I'll be completely fine. And that for me is what I'm chasing, and what I'm running away from, is I'm running away from that lack of freedom and that like lack of stability that I had in growing up in Dubai, and towards like, especially getting to this point, I'm like, I know now, I know who I'm destined to be. I know my potential. I know how amazing I can be. Now I just have to live it. And the best part is, like, once you get to a certain point, it's no longer needed. Like, I can retire today, but now I'm just gonna keep doing things that I enjoy, because, like, what am I gonna do when I retire? I'm gonna be so bored. I'm like the type of person that, me, I'm like gonna get bored in an instant. Even my wife, we go on a vacation, like a nice chill vacation. 2 days in, I'm like, dude, I'm bored. Like, what else? Like, let's change this up. You know what I mean? So I know I can't like stop working, so I might as well do something that I enjoy, and hire people around me that I enjoy working with, and that's how I can kind of like control everything, and have that freedom that I want.
Why do you think most people don't achieve this level of determination? Do you think is because your desire for freedom and for this life that you're creating is so much stronger than others? Like, what do you think it's lacking in other people? Because I know you have conversations and you meet hundreds of people all the time. What is the one thing that you saw that's very common amongst all these people that come to you and ask for advice, but then they never follow through?
Yeah, it's two things. So first of all, there's a big force acting against you, which is society. So everyone tells you like the wrong things, with good intentions, but the wrong things. They tell you, get a secure job. I was doing $70,000 a month in revenue. My grandma said, "Come on, like, stop your business and get a job." Like, literally, they tell you to care about what other people think. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, what is your uncle's gonna say? What is your the people gonna say? I'm like, who cares about these people? So you have all these factors, external factors, influencing you. And then you have the biggest one, which is comfort, and the lack of kind of the catalyst to take that risk. So for me, I hit rock bottom, and I complain about the whole, oh, I wish I went to Canada, whatever. But if I had never gone to Connecticut, who knows? Maybe if I went to Miami or Arizona or Los Angeles from the beginning, I would have been happier and more comfortable, and I would have never hit that, like, real. I hit real rock bottom. I was because I got as close as you can get to being in jail without being in jail. Because think about it, the financial burden, people kind of depending on you, and the inability to like stop doing what you like. I couldn't stop working, and I was just had to go in, clock out, clock in, clock out, 5 days a week. 9 hours. Like, if you add commutes, it's 11 hours a day that was taken from me. So when I have 11 hours of the day, there's what, 7 hours left. There's a bunch of waste, and then I sleep for 8, or not even 7. What is, like, you know what I mean? You get the point. So I think, because I hit that rock bottom, and that was the catalyst of like, shit, dude, like, I have to make a change. Like, anything is better than this. Like, fuck it, and so that catalyst, plus like not caring about all the external forces, if you get both, you'll make that jump. And a lot of people, they get stuck with the comfortable. I was lucky because I was kind of put in the situation in Dubai where it's like, there is no option to be comfortable. It's already uncomfortable. There is no security, there is no family that has a paid off house. There's nothing. Like, I'm fucked here. I'm like, this is at least an option. Like, let's go to America and like try. Here I already know the outcome. I'm done. I'm cooked. Like, I'm not gonna make any money. I'm gonna get treated like shit. There's lack of stability. So a lot of people, they don't have that. They like, the people in America, a lot of them, their parents, maybe they're not well off, but maybe their parents are average, but like, they have a safety net. Then there's the external factors. Then they just haven't hit rock bottom, and so you never do it. So if you if you don't identify that these things are happening, and like, I tell people, I was like, listen, you have to kind of like pull the, what is it called, pull the, just, what is it called, like, pull the tape, or pull the band-aid. Yeah, rip the band-aid off. You just have to rip the band-aid off, right? It's like, it's gonna be uncomfortable, you're gonna fail, you will 100% fail. You like, there is no option for you to succeed on the first time. It's impossible. You will be doing something that is, no one has ever achieved it in the history of mankind. No one was ever successful on the first try, and if they were, they're probably just telling you the success story, but there's 100,000 micro failures that they encountered. And I still encounter micro failures. I still, after this point where I think, okay, I'm really good at hiring, I hired a guy, and 60 days in, after everything and the testing and the culture index was so dialed in, and we everything, it still failed, and you have to be okay with this, the
How do you
failure.
test for them? How do you test for somebody's inability to want to change?
Like, I don't know, how do you test for that? I mean, you can't test for that. You can test for like their motivating factors, right? So like the people who would be motivated the most is like, I hate my life and I need to make a change. Those are the ones that I see are motivated the most. Like they hate their life, they're sick and tired of everything, and they're like, I would prefer to try and fail than to not try. That's how you know that they're going to succeed. If you don't see that, there's a very high likelihood. Like I know some people like that have been unemployed for a while, or people that like you can never kind of get to that point where like they break past the initial barrier. And I know I'm like, you haven't gotten to the point where you hate your life so much that you would rather try and fail than this.
That is such solid gold nugget right there, because
Yeah.
it's so true. I mean, we see it especially in our e-commerce space, right? I mean, so many people have this good intention and probably even spend their life savings, Mina, to create a brand, right? And then there's still that one thing that does not allow them to move forward. Okay, let's change pace a little bit. What was it like making your first million, right? Because you had gone from like your mom barely affording to feed you like a $5 meal at McDonald's to having that million. I want to know, one, what it takes to be that person, and two, to maintain it, and how does it feel to get to that point?
I didn't feel anything at all when I hit that point, because to get to that point, um, first of all, when you start, it's a massive emotional roller coaster. I'm actually going through this with like some new partners where I'm like kind of mentoring them. I invested in their company, and you can see like every day, oh my god, guys, we're off to a good start on Amazon. Like, oh, today was a slow day, and I'm like, it's an emotional roller coaster. I went through it, and so when
You
you're
can
in that
recognize
emotion,
it. You can
huh?
recognize it because you've
Yeah.
seen it. You're like, oh, I know exactly what you're going through.
I've been there. I've been there. And so for you to get to the next, like to pass that and to become successful, you have to let go of that emotions. You have to completely detach from the outcome and say, I don't care what happens. All I care about is the actions that I can take today. So, lead measures and lag measures. Are you aware of like, so lag measures is like, I made $1 million. I sold my company. I bought a car. These are lag measures or whatever. We reached a certain profit, reached a certain thing. That is lag. That is like the score after. Lead is like what you can control. So, for example, like in a sport, 50 points on the scoreboard, that's a lag measure. Taking 100 shots, sprinting every single day 10 times, you know what I mean? Like those are lead things that you can do every single day. So I'm like, okay, I had to completely kill my emotions, completely detach from that, and only focus on actions. So when I hit my first million, I was like, I'm detached. I don't give a fuck. I don't even care about the millions or whatever. I'm like, I'm not here to celebrate that. My life is the celebration. Like my comfort, the ability for me to have the nice cars and the Lambo and this and the penthouses and all this stuff and the traveling all the time and the personal chef. This is my celebration, right? So it's like, who cares about everything else? Like I don't need to celebrate a million or 2 million or 5 million or an exit, or it doesn't. None of it matters, right? And that's the things that really actually I celebrated was when I bought my parents. So my mom constantly complained for years about not having a car, and she was in Egypt, and she was like every day like, oh, like we have to borrow your uncle's car and like this and that. And so when I bought my mom and my dad like a car in Egypt, that was something like memorable. I still remember, like I filmed the whole thing. When I retired my dad, actually, so my dad finally went back to Egypt. Like when he went back to Egypt, he got a job, and he was getting paid like 20,000 pounds, whatever that number is in Egypt. It's like nothing, like peanuts. It's $1 is 50 pounds, right? So something happened at the job, and they decided to cut his salary in half. And I got so worked up that I said, like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself for the next 3 months to be able to afford that 10,000 a month he was getting paid. And then I when I did, I came to him, I said, listen, fuck these people. I'll pay you the 10,000 a month, but you have to retire. Like you have to, like, I cannot watch like someone like do this to my parents. That was like another thing that I like remembered, right? So it's those are the moments that I remember. The million and this stuff, like I never really, I don't even remember. I can't even tell when I hit this number or that number because it doesn't matter to me, because my life is improving. So who cares?
Because those are just vanity metrics. and
Yeah,
and I know this, and I wanted to ask you this because I have, again, I have seen you throughout those moments being in each other's life, and I know that was the driver for you. And for those listening, if you can go back into your own life and see what those values are for you, like what do you value more than money? Because money really is just that energy, is just that bonus that you're getting for living your best life and living your true authentic self, right? So, because I know for those listening, I cut you off when you were talking about the MMA brand. I don't want to leave them standing. Talk to us a little bit about that moment where your friend is like, "Hey, you should put this on Amazon," and you're like, "Oh, wow! Now really the hard work is coming." So walk us from that to, if you want, all the way to present day, because I know
yeah.
there's a lot to go
Yeah,
there.
there's definitely a lot. Okay, so that moment we were at the event, and people kept asking, like me and my friend, like, where can we buy this? Where can we buy this? And I was like kind of avoiding the question, and then my friend like very confidently said, "Oh, this is gonna be on Amazon soon." And I'm like, at that moment I was like, I have to support him, so I said, yeah, it's coming up on Amazon soon. And then I was driving home, right? It was like a 2 hour or hour and a half drive home, and I was like, in my mind, I was thinking, I was like, shit, dude, I just told all these people, which by the way, who cares, right? But I never saw these people ever again. But I'm like, I just told all these people it's gonna be on Amazon soon. Like, I buy all my supplements on Amazon. I should get it on Amazon. And by the way, I got rejected a lot because I tried to get it in gyms. Every single gym owner was like, unfortunately, I don't have a front desk person like that can actually sell this stuff. So like, I have no ability to sell your products because I mainly went after like MMA gyms. And then I tried to go to supplement stores, and I saw the look in their face. They would take my product. They'd be like, yeah, 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 we'll get back to you. And I'm like, yeah, these guys are never going to get back to me. They look at my product. There's no respect at all. And those are also the people working the store. They're not the actual decision makers. So I was like, I'm buying all my shit on Amazon. I should get it on Amazon. And I went home, and then I obsessed. I literally called Amazon customer service, the regular customer service, every day until finally someone connected me. He's like, "Oh, you got the wrong number. Let me connect you to seller support." So they connected me to seller support. Seller support's like, "Oh, you want to start selling on Amazon? Of course. Well, I'm gonna send you an email with all the information." They sent me an email with instructions on how to create an account, a Seller Central account. So I created the account, and then they asked me for all these questions, like difficult, like where's your certificate of analysis and this and that. So I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do. So I contacted a bunch of manufacturers to get quotes, and all of them, like in America, were like, go fuck off. In China, I'm like, why not? Obviously, I was never gonna source from China, but I'm like, let me just contact China. It seems like everyone gets their shit from China, and this guy was so responsive. You know how the Chinese are; they take business way more seriously. So I'm like, okay, amazing. Like, just to finalize things, like I need a certificate of analysis and like an invoice so Amazon can approve me. He's like, oh, I know this, so I'll send it to you. Sends it to me immediately. I upload it to Amazon. It gets approved. And like the first 3 times it got rejected, 3 or 4 times, and I would go back and tell him, hey, it got rejected. This is what they told me, and he would tweak it until it got approved. And I'm like, you're officially good to go to start selling on Amazon. So I was like, dude, let's go. My plan was to buy all the raw ingredients and mix them at home, which is probably not like approved or by the FDA or whatever. But I was like, yeah, whatever. I can't afford these like minimum 3,000 MOQs, $10 per unit. I can make it at home for four, minimum 100 units. So minimum nothing, minimum 2 units. So I reached out like just as a Hail Mary. I told this guy, I was like, hey, can I buy like 4 pounds of this, 4 pounds of this? He's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, actually, quick question. Like, can you blend them for me? Like, how much would that cost? He's like, well, give me the formula. I'm like, here's the formula. He's like, I could do it for $4.50 a unit. I said, oh, and sure. And like, is there a minimum? He's like, no, like, how much do you want? I'm like, 100 units. He's like, yeah, we could do that. I'm like, holy shit. So that became my first manufacturer. And now I officially had a business, right? I had a manufacturer. It was shipping the products to Amazon, and so I got it on Amazon, and that's what started to really shape my future and who I am today. Because it was very difficult. And so I was starting, like, I would go listen to a guru or listen, take advice from someone in a group, and it would be bad advice. And I would get hurt and hurt and fail and fail and hurt. And I'm like, I can't quit, dude. I hate my life. I hate my life. I'm like, and every day I would drive in the car and I would manifest. I would tell, I was like, God, please, by April or by May of 31st of 2019, by May 31st 2019, I want to be making at least as like $5,000 a month in profits, so I can quit my job. Every day I would say it like 100 times on the way to work, and on April 30th they fired me, and I was doing $4,000 a month in profit, and I was like, okay, fuck it, like good enough. So I was driving home, and I'm like, this is the time. This is the time to take a risk. I'm like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, this doesn't work out. I'm just gonna go back to another job. I'm like, so my current reality is my worst case scenario. Like, fuck it. So I packed my bags. I sold everything. I ended my lease. It was a month to month, so it didn't even matter. And I packed all my shit, and I moved back to Egypt. I was like, I'm gonna move back to Egypt for 4 months. In those 4 months, I'm gonna work like a machine to reinvest everything and make some more profits, and then I'll move back to a better state than fucking Connecticut. And I moved to Los Angeles. So went home, did that, obsessed about like learning and trying everything, and eventually I figured some things out. And I also realized, I was like, dude, no one's coming to save me. Like, I would ask like people from Amazon, I would ask them questions, like Amazon, the company itself, like their senior Amazon ads specialist. And I would tell her, like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And she would give me the like, oh, go broader, or maybe try different keywords. I'm like, thank you. I could thank you, Dr. Obvious. I couldn't figure that out. Go broader, try different keywords. So I realized no one was coming to save me. I tried like the amazing flywheel, ads software. It fucked me. I tried this agency. It fucked me. I talked to this person. They rejected me. I talked to this person. They scammed me. So I was like, okay, no one's coming to save me. And once I had that mindset, everything changed. I was like, okay, I know the answer is within me, and I just have to get it. So I'm like, the fact, like, and with MMA, by the way, this is how it works in MMA. In MMA, the coach teaches you a move, and here's the thing: inevitably, you are going to get like that move wrong 100. Like, you're like, he teaches you how to take a shot, and then you go take a shot, and like you're gonna get choked the first 50 minimum times you take that shot, because you're taking it wrong, because it's a new thing. And I'm like, okay, so I know like the first 50 times I do anything, I'm gonna get it wrong, but on the 51st time, whatever, 100th time, I'm gonna get it right. Eventually I'm gonna get it right. It's inevitable. And so I took that same mindset, and I was like, here's the thing: I know if I fail enough times, I'll find the answer. Because meanwhile, like, we had a friend we talk about all the time. They would be so meticulously crafting this strategy. I've already tried 5 things, failed and found the right answer, and I'm already like 10 times ahead of them. And so that became kind of like my answer. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Now, obviously, anyways, what happened was, I became like a big name in the space, because I started to post a lot in the groups and share all of my failures and how I found the successes. And people, I started reaching out to people. I want to get on podcasts. I did 1 podcast a week. 6 months in, everyone knew who I was. And thank you, because you're the one who made my biggest company and my baby reality. Connected me to a guy who was looking for someone to train their team. So this company had raised $300 million. They had a consultant, Tomer, your friend. You told them that I was the best PPC guy. Thank you for that. Amazon ads
Still,
guy.
still is, still
Still
are.
am for sure. And then I started teaching their team, and teaching them ads and all this stuff. And they were one client, and they're like, why don't you just do this for us? Like, just do it for one brand. We want to see how good you are. And I basically started an agency without knowing it, for one person, one client, and it was making me almost the same amount of profit as my other business was. And it was way less stressful, because it was me and one employee doing all the work. Took me an hour a day or something, and it paid me like almost. And this one was like so stressful, because it's like your listing is getting taken down, and one day the sales are high and one day sales are low, and this happened in manufacturing, and put more money into inventory. And so March of 2021, I decided to start an agency, because everyone was already asking me. In 2019, you told me to start an agency, you and Christina, and I just didn't believe in myself. So after that moment, I was like, okay, they showed me the 6 other massive agencies that they had on board, and that I outperformed them all by 30%. I was like, okay, I mean, I must be really good at this shit. So I started the agency. And that's when this time I said, okay, last time I said, let's make every mistake under the book. This time, let's be a little bit smarter. Who's the best guy at this shit? Let me go and pay him for his time to get information. Because I said, man, if I were to go back in time with MMA Nutrition, my supplement brand, I would go and I would work for the best guy in the space, learn everything from him, or like have him mentor me while I'm building my business. So I'd be doing shit that is not like I'm in construction, like a project manager in construction. It doesn't help me at all. At least I'm learning, I'm learning some stuff from this guy, and I'm building my business, and I'm making some cash. And so this time I was like, okay, I don't need like to work for someone. I could just pay someone for all the mistakes they made. And so I hired Ray Jostin from Right Hook Digital. They're an 8-figure agency, and I started asking him questions every single day. I paid him for his time, and that really fast tracked my success with the agency. And we grew from in 2021 from like 1 employee to now like almost 90 employees, 200 brands under management from that one. And we just got the Inc. 5000 number 170 fastest growing company in America. So it's
Congratulations
been
on
it's been
that.
a, it's been a wild ride. But Trivium was the number, like, it was the business that really exposed me, because it was like this very bright light, and it showed me all of my like weaknesses. And it was like, hey, listen, like, how like an employee quit and you're now struggling, is like, it's because you suck at hiring. How like you thought you made 120,000 in profit, but you actually made 70,000 in profit, is because you suck at finances. How like, one day you closed 5 deals and the next day you only closed one or whatever. That's because you suck at sales. And it always shined that light on all of them. And to this day, like I'm not good enough at running paid ads, like, to acquire clients. And it shines that light. It says, oh, how like your lead flow is like not really predictable, or you're not like scaling it consistently. Well, it's because you suck at acquiring leads. You suck at like lead acquisition, lead generation. And so Trivium became the biggest gift, because it was like it's such a tough industry to crack. It's agency, everyone is going after your clients. It's so hard to stand out, and so it really forced me to become better at every piece of business. And that led to then my, now I think, my biggest success, which is my med spa. It's called MDW, Modern Day Wellness. We have a location in Miami, and now we also have a location in Montreal. And I took all of that knowledge, all of that like discipline, and I applied it in a different industry where I felt like, in the Amazon space and in the agency. I would say in the Amazon space, I'm pretty high up. I'm probably in the top 5, right? In the agency space, there's definitely a good amount of people that are above me. It's a very tough space. But when I went to the med spa space, I was the number one, like easily, like by a long shot, because this space is being run by doctors, by nurses. Like, there's no one even close to me. And so we started, and we just destroyed we took nurses from the biggest med spas in Miami, and like 2 weeks in, they're like, we've never had more appointments in a day. Like, this is the most appointments we've ever had in one day. Like, they're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So that is like why I have this very large emphasis on my skill set, because it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be selling a course, I could be in the car wash business, in the real estate business, in stock trading, whatever it is. I know it's the same skill set, and it's that, like, that obsession of like, keep shining that light on me, keep showing my insecurities, and I'm gonna work relentlessly to get them better. But now it's a little bit more strategic, right? It's like, here's where I am, here's where I need to get, and like, who can help me, right? Like, marketing. My business partner Dave is incredible at lead gen paid ads. I'm gonna talk to him. Daniel, he's incredible at SEO. I'm gonna talk to him. Sales, Eddie, he's phenomenal at sales. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna talk to him, his head of sales. Finance. So I know 4 CFOs. My mentor, built a CFO agency to 20 million and sold it. So he managed 89 CFOs. I'm like, I'm going to talk to him about finances. I'm going to talk to him about like that kind of stuff. So now I have like a different system where it's like, I'm going to go into a business or whatever business I'm in, benchmark where I'm at, write down where I want to get to, find the best people in the world, like, that can advise me, and then have them advise me, and then build very, very strong systems. I also realized, like, there's this quote, like, anything that you're not good at, just find the best people in the world, hire them. I'm like, no, because if that was the case, you suck at being a car mechanic, How many people get scammed at car mechanics? Oh yeah, Isabella, you hear that? That's your carburetor's tickling. So it's a $2,800 to change it. And like you fucking don't know shit because you're not a car mechanic. So that's what happens every day in every part of business is this SEO company says, oh yeah, we're gonna buy you backlinks and we're gonna put you on Forbes and whatever, and you're gonna fucking get so many leads. And then you 6 months go, oh, we need 6 months because SEO takes 6 months. 6 months go by, you're paying a 3K, 4K a month retainer, there's no results. Good job. You just wasted a bunch of money. And so now it's like, okay, I realize I have to be in the top 1% of the world in everything that I do, whether it's finances, whether it's buying cars, like buying my cars. Like my first car that I got was the Tesla X. I lost 30,000 on it. I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Like, there's people out there that are buying car and making a profit on it. So then I started learning, and then I found like, shit, like you can actually, car hack and buy a car and not lose money on it. And then my second car, we're making money on it, the G Wagon. The third car, the Lamborghini, was like a little bit of a different place. Like, how can I minimize my loss but leverage it for content? So if it makes me at least some money, like even if I get one extra, thing for business from it, now I made even more money. So everything in the world, whether it's like, even I'm now studying how to buy handbags for my wife, at a profit, because it's like that's what she wants. And so instead of it being a liability, it's going to become a profit center for me. So that's kind of the approach I have now for business, and that's, I believe, the mindset that really helps me succeed.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, I mean, you said so many things, but one that stuck to me was, you being in such an MMA fighter and being in that spirit, that actually helped you a lot create this mindset. Um, would you recommend people get into some kind of physical sport, or it just happened that you were just lucky to be attracted to the sport, which also helped shape your mindset?
Yeah, I think the sport is the biggest thing that ever happened to me. Like, if there's one thing I would recommend is every person listening to this, go join a jiu-jitsu gym. Because maybe like kickboxing, getting punched in the face is
Men
not going to be
and
for you.
women?
Men and women. Because I mean, women, first of all, like you become completely resistant to any sort of rape or anything like that. So I mean, if I had daughters, that's the first thing they're going to do. Because now I'm like, I don't even have to worry. I mean, yeah, I'm going to worry about them a little bit, but like way less than like a regular woman who can't defend herself if a guy like grabs her or something, right? But besides all of that, I like believe the concepts that it takes to succeed in that sport is exactly what it takes to succeed in business. It's like the progress over perfection, right? The full ownership and full accountability. Because when you go and you roll with someone or you fight with someone, when you lose, like you can't blame anyone but yourself. You can't blame your coach. You can't blame, who are you going to blame, right? There's no one you could blame. Like, you were not good enough. You did not put enough time, energy, effort, whatever, or you did everything you could, but you have flaws and you need to fix those flaws. And so it's that mindset. It is the like never quit, like I'll die before I quit mindset. It's also the same thing of like, when you find that you're not good at something, go talk to like the best leg locker in the gym and get training under him. Go talk to the best arm bar guy in the gym if you don't know how to hit an arm bar correctly. So I firmly believe that it was the MMA. I always wanted to do fighting. I always wanted to fight. My parents never let me. When I came to America and I was in college, I was like, I'm free now. So that's why I was able to do it. But I would 100% recommend it for everyone if you're in business. Now, the other thing you mentioned, right? Like, we were talking about, Mina, like there's certain people that they can't like pass that threshold because they need like misery in their life, right, to get there, or the things are keeping them comfortable. One thing also about the combat sports that I realized is it's so hard and so painful and so uncomfortable that everything else in business becomes easy. Like,
Mm.
when we have these big issues, like I had an issue where like we were collecting money, payment processing, and then we did a test with a company. Everything looked. I trusted like an idiot that everything was fine, and I'm like, okay, Kyle, we can migrate. And then we started migrating, and all of a sudden, none of our money is processing. And you're talking about like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month are not being processed. And to some people, that's very stressful. And to me, I was like, dude, I was getting choked out, and someone's knee was in my face, and like, I almost broke 4 limbs this morning. I'm gonna solve this. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? And I think if you're not doing hard shit, like there's a lot of people that do the cold plunges and all this stuff. All this stuff is good. If you start doing really hard stuff that make you very uncomfortable, it makes, making that jump and taking that risk, and forgetting about all what your parents think or your family thinks, or just realizing like, I gotta let you go. And I think both of us realize this is like where our parents and family and friend is like, if you want that life, then stay with them. A lot of like, oh, I'm like, dude, I talk to so many people. I'm like, why are you in this city or this state? Like, why don't you move to Miami or somewhere where it's like an environment? It's like your soil, right? You're a seed and this is your soil. Like, why don't you move to like a very nutrient rich soil that you can grow faster? Oh, well, the family, well, this. I'm like, okay, so you prefer to be in this state and this comfort, and that's the future you're accepting. Your family and your friends, that's the future you're gonna have. You clearly don't want it bad enough to like just have to let go and move to a better spot. And so I think one of the best things that you can do is start doing difficult stuff.
I love that because you're right. There's a lot of people that say, well, maybe I wasn't lucky enough to be born in a third world country, right? So what you're saying is if you don't have anything that's making you level up, you can put yourself in situations that allow that, such as let somebody punch you in the face 50 times until you're like, okay, nothing in business can punch me in the face because I went through it. And something that I really want to emphasize on what you said, Mina, is you're like, you got to get choked up 50 times. And that's just the process, right? And we know the same exact thing happens in business. You're going to lose money. You got to get up. You're going to miss out. You're going to get screwed on buying a car. You're going to get screwed on payment processing. But with all of this, you learn. What's important is do not quit. When that happens, learn from it. And I also loved what you said about once you acquire these skills, right, you can literally easily transfer them to another business. And, I mean, I love everything that you are and that you have built, but the message that I really wanted to bring today on this podcast is the fact that you are doing something, Mina, so incredible and so rare because now you're realizing that now I have these skills, right? Most people will stop here. They're like, I'm making millions, I'm doing good. And there's almost this imposter syndrome and fear of like, oh my God, my skills only work within Amazon. And you're like, hell no. The skills that I've acquired now work in every sector that I decide to put my fingerprint on. So, anything else you want to add to that? Because I think that's like such good gold that you don't really hear that from many people. Usually, just people stay within their own lane, and they thrive. But there's so much more out there.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'm gonna say this is if you never quit, you're never gonna fail, right? You only fail when you completely give up. So never quit, and then always really think about the worst case scenario, like a real worst case scenario. So many people come to me and they're like, in their minds, it's always like this. It's always like think. Have you ever been in like movie where like it's kind of like first it's like blurry and you can't really make the shape of it, and then slowly gets clearer, clearer. Most of us, like when we think about the worst case scenario, we stop at that blurry side where it looks like it's gloomy and dark. Like for example, you know, uh, what's gonna happen if I quit my job and go full time on this business? I'm like, oh fuck, if it fails, we don't even finish the thought. We just say if it's gonna be bad, right? But like, no, 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 no. Like let's play it out. Like, okay, you don't have a job, you tried the business, you lost, $20,000. What's the next step? Well, I'm just gonna have to like apply. Okay, cool. So you're gonna start applying for jobs. Probably not go back to the same job. Probably go back to another job where now you have an entrepreneur skill set. You tried. You're gonna probably go work for a better entrepreneur who figured it out. Learn from them, and then try again, and then potentially succeed. Or if you fail, do it again. It's like I'm like, how bad is that? It's actually not that bad. So it's like that is the biggest takeaway is whatever's stopping you from that like next level, it's probably you haven't completed the thought of the worst case scenario. Because if you did, like if it's really terrible, like oh the worst case scenario, my family's gonna die. Okay, don't do it. But it's never like that,
Never
especially in
that.
business. Like business is never that serious.
It's never that. Let's end with this one thing, Mina, and I hope you're gonna recall this memory. But me and you, we always used to say, "But we're already dead."
Yeah.
right?
On
So,
the plane, I remember.
and if that is true, then we're already that. It's almost a metaphor of, you know what? We are here for this one life to live it all out, right? Pretend that you already died and now your life starts, right? And with that being said, like, give us some advice on what are the best practices to just live full out. I mean, you moved from LA, from, living with roommates at one point, to literally creating and manifesting your perfect life that you couldn't even imagine. Your imagination wasn't even available to think of all the things that you have now. Give us a few tips on, like, how do we go from this place where we are right now to living the dream life in Miami, getting picked up in a yacht to go to dinner, having a Tiffany color Lambo just because you like the color, you didn't play it safe. How do the rest of us listening get to live that life, Mina?
Yeah. I mean, I would say this for me, it's like two things, right? Like the manifestation is one, but the like massive action is it's like a balance, right? So I fully believe that I am gonna win, like no matter what. Like in my mind, there's zero doubt. Like I have no doubt that I'm gonna win. So it's already there. I already know I'm gonna win. I know it's only a matter of time. And so the only thing left is for me to take the action to get there. So that's like for me, that's what it is. And I think the biggest thing is also I have a white belt mentality. So I don't care about what I'm good at. I only care about what I'm bad at. And like, I just talked to a guy the other day, by the way, and he like I was like, oh, like you should ask this person. He's like, and this person is like someone that does 100 million, and this other person is someone that not even I don't know even if they do a million. And he's like, no, no, like I already talked. Like I don't think there's much I could learn from these people. And I'm like, this is how you've already lost. And this is because there's the ego, and the ego it's this nasty thing that lives. We all have it. And your ability to shut it down and put it all the way at the bottom, and kill your ego and say, I'm going to go up to someone who's doing a quarter of what I'm doing in revenue or whatever, because you see one thing that you think they're doing better, right? And just say, hey, how do you do this one thing? Like, teach me. And like, this is hard for a lot of people, whether it's someone better than you, as you're like, why would they want to give me the time of day? Like, I might get rejected. Or someone worse than you, oh, but I'm better than them, why would I go ask them for advice? And so I walk with this white belt mentality. When anyone tells me what I'm good at, I'm like, I don't even care. I don't care what I'm good at. I'm already good at it. I only care about what I'm bad at and how can I get better at it. And I'm obsessive about it. Like, I want to be the best at every single thing that's ever existed. Like, that's my mentality. And I know, because if I was, then I would win at everything. And I'm like, and I know that 100% I've already won at everything. Like, it's going to happen inevitably. So the only way to get there is to just have that white belt mentality and take massive action. Go learn, implement, fail the 50 times, get choked out the 50 times. On the 51st time, I'm going to get it right.
Mm. Book coming soon, right?
Yeah, book soon. Book, yeah, by Ink of Genius.
I love that. Mina, what a pleasure is talking to you. How do our listeners find you if they want to learn more about you? I know you're on YouTube, Mina Elias, but any other places that people can write to you and tell you how awesome you are?
Yeah, YouTube is where I drop all my knowledge, Mina Elias, and then Instagram at the Mina Elias. If you want to ask me any questions, my DMs are open. Hit me up. Just make them good, like normal questions, not 6,000 paragraph questions. And LinkedIn Mina Elias. I'm super open. I'm always happy to help, and I always try to put out content, more and more. So I would love if people also hit me up and just said, hey, I would love if you did a video on this or a video on that, because I have so much knowledge that I would love to share, and there's no reason to hold it back.
I love that. Mina, sending you so much love and a big hug all the way from San Diego to Miami. We will see you on another episode of Dose of Wealth. Thank you.